Check the description for the following discount codes.
Today is the second video in the series of 3 Next Level Racing videos featuring products that they think people perhaps might be looking at for Christmas gifts. The previous one was that child's cockpit, the GT Lite Junior. Today we're looking at the Formula Lite Pro, another foldable cockpit, because again, these foldable sort of entry-level cockpits are in a price bracket that some people may find acceptable for, Christmas purchases. The GT Lite Junior was £149. This Formula Lite Pro is £279 before my discount, which is linked below. Now, again, everyone's circumstances are different. So to some people, 280 notes would be too much money. To other people, it's pennies. So obviously everyone's situation is different. But I mean, when we think about things like games consoles, Xboxes, PlayStations, VR headsets, these are all the sort of things that a lot of children do get for Christmas, and they are, way more expensive than what we see here, £300, £400, even £500. So I think Next Level Racing are not far adrift with their idea that people might be looking at this. This is obviously full-size adults cockpit, so this would be something you might buy for your boyfriend or girlfriend if she's into sim racing, or a teenager that is sort of fully grown, so to speak, that doesn't fit into like the GT Lite that I reviewed, previously. And this is, of course, a Formula cockpit. So as you can see from the picture here, it's very much a Formula seating position. So GT racers, probably not the one to look at. They do a GT variant of this that I've reviewed before, but today it's all about Formula. We'll take a quick look at what we get. We get the usual hefty Next Level Racing instruction pamphlet. I swear this paper's more like cardboard, it's so thick. It's in a few languages, but the instructions from Next Level Racing are always very clear and make it very easy to assemble the cockpits. We then get a bag with tools, fixtures and fittings and a couple of straps. These straps are used to help brace the cockpit in use. I don't know if you'll see them on the screen or not, it might be too far away, but they do. They kind of pull it together to help reduce any sort of forward and backwards play in the wheel deck when it's in use. So they're in here. There is also a storage strap which is laying on the floor down there. Aside from that, we've got 6 pieces on the floor here in front of me, so it shouldn't take too long to put together. It is steel tubing, again, just like the GT Lite Junior that I reviewed last time. Pounded? I was trying to say painted or powder coated, and I came out with whatever that word was I just said. Yeah, painted or powder coated in black. For the pedals, we've got these 2 sliders, again, just like we had on the GT Lite Junior. You undo your quick releases at the side and you slide them up and down. Yeah, neat, tidy, simple solution. It means you can fit any pedals you like, because you can slide them to wherever you want. And the cutouts are almost full width. We've then got, now this is this little piece here is effectively the rear leg, and it has a couple of wheels on it to allow for easy transport once it's folded up, because of course this is a foldable cockpit. We've then got the wheel deck. I actually think this is similar thickness to the one on the GT Lite Junior. Reasonably hefty. This has a little bit more reinforcement actually on the underneath here. It is a slightly different design. We've got a little brace across here, and it looks like we've got sliders, or almost like seat sliders. So you'd undo these, I would guess, and then that allows you to slide this backwards and forwards. Haven't seen that before actually, that's new. And then a strap, this strap is attached permanently. So I'm guessing that is for some sort of bracing as well, or perhaps if it swings open to get in and out, that strap might stop it going over too far. I won't know until I get it assembled. Oh, actually no, it looks like it's the counterpart to the 2 straps I mentioned previously. But we'll see all this when it's fully assembled anyway. I know I'm trying to show it to you now. It's going to be built up soon. And then obviously we've got the main sort of seat and cushion part itself, which I'm not going to carry over there. You can see it once it's fully assembled. So let me get it fully assembled, and we'll take a close-up look around of it. For those of you that like to see the packaging, I will just quickly show you the box as well. There's the front, and there's the back. I think, probably, who knows. Anyway, let's get it built up and see what it looks like fully assembled. I actually think this looks really quite cool for a foldable cockpit. I know that's completely subjective, but I like the way they've done the seat in this sort of different sections here. You won't see it from there, but you will do want to do a close-up. The mesh actually goes all the way through these individual segments, and I can see straight through to my carpet. It's kind of like almost like tiger stripes, I suppose. But anyway, I quite like the way it looks, and the sort of white, silver and black contrasting materials also looks nice as well. I don't know, I just like the way it looks. But that's each to their own. Anyway, it probably took me half an hour to throw it together. Half hour, 40 minutes, something like that. You do have to follow the instructions. With the previous one that I reviewed, the GT Lite Junior, there were so few pieces, it was obvious how it goes together. With this, you definitely need to follow the instructions because there's an awful lot of adjustment points, and I'll show you those in a minute. I've just kind of configured it in everything's kind of an in-between setting, and you'll see what I mean in a second when we look round it. But yeah, that's how it looks. Took me about half hour to get it together. So let's have a close-up look around now, and I'll show you all those adjustment points. As always, we'll start from the top. You do have kind of a little headrest here. It does protrude more than the rest of the seat. So there is a little headrest there. You know, it's a nice mesh. Again, this keeps things lightweight and breathable. The material looks like kind of sort of an Alcantara or a suede. Obviously, it's not real. I'm assuming it's not real anyway. It doesn't quite feel like it is. Like I mentioned, the logo here, Formula Lite Pro, looks nice. And here is the mesh I was talking about. You can see all the way through the seat, look. And I just think that looks kind of cool. Also good for, how breathable the seat is. Again, it's all this aero mesh. Anyway, we've got Next Level Racing down the side here and on the back as well. Again, you can see through the vented seat, so that's kind of cool. There's our rear wheels for transportation once it's folded away. And if we come back up to the top here, we've got our wheel deck, slides forward and backwards, as I guessed earlier, on those little runners. You undo these thumb screws, and of course it tilts as well. You'll secure that using the big thumb screw in the middle. We've then got our strengthening straps, 2 of here and 1 of at the side. And the idea of those, as I briefly alluded to earlier, was that they take up play between this section and this section, so it can't kind of flap around too much, and the same applies with that to there. It's all about reducing the sort of movement you might get otherwise. Now, you can't go too mad with these, because as you can see, they are only actually held on by a pin that comes through, and this thin wire. So you don't yank on the straps and pull them up ridiculously tight like you might do a seat harness, because you will bend these. But they're only really there to take up slack. So they do help, even though you can't put mega strength on them. To get in and out, you undo this here. This pops open like so, and you're able to then swing that around and get yourself in and out of the cockpit. Nice and easy. Put it back in. Well, it's not so easy one-handed, Carl, but I'm determined to do it. Come on. Oh, nearly. There we go. You can do it one-handed. If you happen to be a one-handed sim racer, a one-arm champion, you can still get in and out of your cockpit. Anyway, what else have we got? So yeah, pedal tray, in inverted commas, just these 2 sliders. The only thing about these, I meant to mention this in the last video, is these slots are really a little bit big. They've been slotted for M8 bolts, and of course the bolts that hold down all pedals in sim racing are M6. So you do need to use washers. When you bring your bolts through from behind, you must use a washer. Otherwise the head of the bolt could pull through. A small gripe, but also an easy one to fix, because I don't know any sim racing pedals that use M8 bolts and so would require holes or slots this wide. They should be 2mm narrower. Same size as the holes, these are M6 as well, there. In fact, that's an oval one, so ignore the oval ones, but the round ones are M6, so quite a bit smaller than these 8mm slots. But it's fine, because in the bag you get over there, there is hardware bolts, and they do come with washers, so it's fine. And I had some for my testing anyway, but something to bear in mind, and something they could easily fix as well. Again, same this end with the straplet, just that metal pin and the wire. So as I say, don't go too mad. I've just realised I've left these end caps on. That's not how it looks. Nobody wants grey ass caps stuck on the end of their cockpit, do they? Saying that. Ugh. There we go. That's what the ends actually look like. Much better. Get rid of those. So, adjustment wise, where are we up to? You've seen that, you've seen those. So as we come down then, you've got this array of cams here. You slacken that off, and then this whole assembly, both the bottom piece and the chair, can adjust in and out. And we'll be using that not only to adjust your seating position, but for when you fold it away as well. And you then lock them back into place. There's one either side. So we actually got little bolsters here, look, which they almost look quite cute, didn't they? They add a little bit more sort of a race feel to the seat, and the same on the upright sections here as well. So this, you can see, this is quite a step up from the GT Lite Junior that I reviewed, a week ago. But speaking of that, we have the same type of adjustment for the angle of the backrest. 4 holes in this case, with pins that you just pull out once you sort of take the weight off the seat. You just pull it up a little bit, pull your pins out, choose a different hole, put it back in. The seat itself, you can actually adjust how tall the back section is. Now, I don't know how easy it's going to be for me to show you, but if we look in the back here, you can see there is a picture of a man and an arrow. Well, if we could see in there, which we can't, there is a smaller man where my finger is. And you see this little silver button? You can press that and squeeze that in, and then you can slide this section in or out. There's about 5 different holes, and that will actually shorten or lengthen the whole of the backrest. Obviously, there's the same on the other side. Probably easier to do with the cockpit upside down, I would imagine. I've put it in kind of a central position for this review, because I'm neither tall nor short, so I'm guessing that's probably where it needs to be. Now, what else adjustment-wise? Yeah, so it's the same, it's exactly how this works here. Look, there is another hole under here, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 holes here, which allow you to lengthen or shorten the overall length of this leg here, which of course tips the seat further back or more down towards almost a GT position, really. You could probably almost get this into a GT position if you wanted, because if you look at the front here, you can lower the front. Again, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 possible holes there. We're on number 4. We could go up another 2 and shorten that leg if we needed to. It wouldn't be a true GT position, but it wouldn't be too far off, especially as you can then make adjustments here to kind of bring the seat, up a bit more. But yeah, so height adjustment for the front there, height adjustment and angle adjustment for the rear there, adjustment for the angle of the upright, and adjustment for the length of the upright also. Now, do we have any other? I think that's all the adjustment there is. I do quite like these little, you've got like small man and then big man. It's not even like short and tall, it's like the person actually shrinks from being big to being small and vice versa. Something that just made me laugh a little bit. Anyway, yeah, I think that is all the adjustment there is and all the features I need to mention. My next job is to strap some sim racing equipment to it, hop in it, take it for a little spin, see how it feels. So that's what I'm going to do. Well, bolting everything on was perfectly straightforward. I do like this sort of quick release adjustment on the plate here to be able to slide the wheel back and forwards by undoing these 4 thumb screws. That is quite a nice little touch. There's also one bit of adjustment I forgot to mention earlier, this bar that runs across here, that the sort of front section clamps onto. There's a couple of thumb screws here and you can raise and lower that, so that will adjust the angle of your pedal tray as well. So there's a huge amount of adjustment on this, there really is. One thing I'm not particularly a fan of is how you get in and out. Now it's a 4-minute driving position, which always means you're sitting low and your legs are up high. So it's never the easiest thing to get in and out of anyway. But when we undo this, which is perfectly fine, no issue with this here, it's just that now this doesn't actually move that far because your left hand strengthening strap you got it pulled tight, right? That's the whole purpose of it. If I move this any further than about that, I'm going to bend those pins. Now, the way around this, of course, if we just put that back in, and some of you have already guessed, is to disconnect the strap. But the thing is, it's under pressure at this point, and yeah, I guess it's fine to do it like that. I just don't like the idea of bending these wires too much. They are, you know, designed to be sort of bent around because that's how you get them on and off. But as you can see here, it's a little bit fiddly and it's back on again. So you could do that on this side because it's not this one that prevents it from opening. Obviously that moves with it. It's this side. It's just a little, I don't know, something that niggles me a little bit. But I mean, you could always use it without the straps. The straps obviously are there to reduce sort of forwards and backwards wobble in the wheel deck by trying to stop these from flexing. And you know, they certainly do help, but with any folding cockpit, we know there's gonna be flex and wobble. Look, this is normal and it's to be expected in a folding cockpit. I think the GT Amiga folding cockpit, their latest one that they've released, I've forgotten what the name of that is more solid than what this is, but it isn't a formula cockpit, so it's not really a fair comparison anyway. But yeah, we're always going to get this. The left and right is pretty much non-existent, just like in the GT Lite Junior that I tested. It's just the forward and backward that if I was to, I'm not giving it huge amounts of pressure to do this. I could probably pull these straps a tiny bit tighter, but like I say, it's about being careful and not overstretching and then bending these metal sort of springy clips there. But aside from that, it's plenty wide enough for me, who's quite a broad chap. It's comfortable. I've had a drive for about 45 minutes to an hour and set up and playing around, and I've got no issues with comfort whatsoever. I could do with moving my pedals actually a tiny bit closer to me. They might not look like it, but I don't know, actually, maybe not. I just felt when I was driving, perhaps they could do it a little bit closer, but that's very easy to do. I just couldn't be bothered to get out and do it again because getting in and out is a little fiddly, and you'll see me sort of fall out in a little while when I get out to pack it away and show you how to fold it up. But yeah, it's comfortable to use, no problems there. The wheel deck is nice and solid. There's very little flex in that. It's just up here, you know, where the wheelbase attaches. They only rate this for up to like a 10 Newton meter wheelbase, but to be honest, that's kind of irrelevant because the torque of the wheelbase actually more directly affects the side to side. Oh, I haven't done one of my bolts up tight enough. So let me just pause here. I'll do my bolt up and then I'll come back. Right, my bolt is now tightened up. So yeah, what I was saying was steering wheel torque actually directly relates more to side wobble than it does, you know, front to back wobble. And there isn't that much in the way of side to side. I mean, I'm kind of wiggling my hips and moving the whole thing. But anyway, I'll just do a little drive here and you'll see that this does, of course, wobble a little bit backwards and forwards in use, but nothing that's not unexpected for a foldable cockpit. You know, we have to expect compromise when it comes to foldable cockpits. They're never going to be as solid as a static cockpit, you know. Even something like the GT Amiga Art or the Next Level Racing Victory is more solid in the sort of wheel deck area than what this is. But as I say, foldable cockpit, it's what we expect. There's not much you can do about it. But in use, Yes, you can see it's moving back and forward, just like you could with the GT Lite Junior, but you kind of get used to it. Yes, you do lose a little bit of the sort of force feedback, the detail, and that, as I mentioned in that previous video, it kind of dampens it out because instead of the force feedback being directly translated to your hands, it's being, you know, taken up by the movement in the wheelbase. But there's definitely less on this than there is on the GT Lite Junior, and that's kind of expected because this is a slightly bigger and beefier, you might say, cockpit, and with those extra straps that just help to sort of keep everything tight. There's also another strap you can fit. It doesn't really affect the driving, which is why I haven't done it, but one of the transportation straps that comes in the packaging when it's all packed away, you can use to go from the front leg to the rear leg and kind of pull that together a little bit as well. But as I say, there isn't really any movement there anyway, so that would just be another strap you have to undo when you're setting it up or packing it away. And that's just a bit ball achy, because one of the things with these cockpits, in fact, let's just stop that there. You can see it moves a little bit. One of the things with these cockpits that I've always found is they are a bit ball achy to pack away and to set up. And that is because there is so much adjustability, and the way these cams work, it all just becomes a little bit fiddly. Now, I actually found it was just as easy to get out like this as it was to worry about undoing that. So that's how I've been getting in and out. Now, I am going to have to refer to the instructions for the folding away procedure, because I think, let's get these cables undone first, I think there is around 12 individual steps for packing this away. And it's a case of, if you own one, you'll get used to it and it will become, you know, second nature, and you'll be much faster at it. But for me as a reviewer, this will be the first time I'm doing it. So you'll get to see exactly how long it takes and how fiddly it is for the very first time with me. As I say, I reviewed the GT version of this quite a few months ago. And before that, in fact, I reviewed a couple more of their foldable cockpits, all in this sort of style. So I have got like experience with it, but even so, it's fiddly, as we will see. So, folding sequence. Disconnect all the straps before folding the cockpit. So that will be this one here at the back. And I may as well fold it kind of over itself a bit so that it's not flapping around really long. And then of course these straps here. Now you could pop them out at the metal pins. Oh wait, it actually tells me to which way does it tell me to undo it? See, in the picture, they're still attached to the front. So I think perhaps these should go on the other way round, because you use these straps in a little while as part of the folding away. Yeah, because that's how it wants it to be attached, like this. So this can go back up here. I should do the same. This end, there's no like obvious direct. I put them on this way so that Next Level Racing is readable when you're on the outside, like left to right, as if you like, that's how we read, unless you're Chinese. And I think Chinese read upside down, down, top to bottom, bottom to top, left to right. They read some weird way anyway. We read left to right, don't we? So that's why I put it on that way round. But looking at the instructions for folding away purposes, we need to have it on this way round so the straps are left at the front. So straps are all undone. Next, press both spring-loaded pins on the pedal corner brackets. Fold the pedal frame front tube under the pedals. So that's just this bit here. We push these in like that, and that folds under the pedals. Next, loosen 2 knobs on front leg support bar. That's these here. And this is what I mean. There's quite a few steps we're going to be doing here. Slide the pedal frame down to the bottom of the front. Slide the pedal frame down to the bottom. So, well, I mean, that is all the way down. That's where I had it. Is that what it means? In the picture, it's actually got this bar all the way up here. Oh no, but then in the next picture, it is down there where I've got it. Okay, that's fine. So that's how it's looking so far. Yeah, okay. So undo the hub cam levers and rotate to allow the hubs to spin freely. Grab the wheel plate tube and the top of the backrest as shown. Fold the cockpit to the front, bringing the backrest and the wheel plate towards the pedal frame. Okay, so undo these. It says slacken them off, but looking at it, they may already be slack enough. And then I think we bring, oh no, maybe they're not slack enough. Now, at this point, it might be useful for you to put a mark along here so that, like for your desired driving position, so that next time you unfold it, you know exactly where to put it. So it's telling us to do this, I think. Let's have a look. Pull that towards, or does it want that? Okay, what's the next picture show us? The next picture shows us, no, it wants this over there, like that. Is that right? Yes, so wheelbase pointing up on top of the pedals. Now in their illustration, the pedals are actually slid all the way down to the end. But for me to do that, I'd actually need to like lose the position I've got them set in. I'm just going to leave them there for now because that would be one less thing you kind of need to mark up to put back. So let's see if we can leave it there. Next thing is simply to take the pins out the back and fold the seat forward, which is easy. Pins can come out. Fold the seat forward. And that is actually it. Put the pins back in, I guess, so they're not flapping around. Yeah, that is actually it. And the next thing they say is simply to get these long straps that were at the front and use them to secure like everything together. They say specifically use the strengthening straps to secure all parts together. Thread the straps through the wheel plate, backrest and pedal frame. So, I mean, they're attached to the pedal frame. If I put it through the wheel deck and then kind of come up here, if I do the same with the other one, and they'll kind of join in the middle. Oh, am I supposed to have done those cams back up? Have I missed a step? Because they're still poking out. Loosen the knob, fold the pedal frame, fold the wheel plate as shown above. No, it doesn't say to retighten them back up. The next step is to do, oh okay, that's actually the very last thing we do. So let's continue with my strappage. Putting in that around things. Is that going to nicely Velcro to one another? It is. And then it says finally to put it up on its wheels and then do like this. It's kind of in shot. And then do our cams back up like so. So, where's the camera and where am I? Here I am. So yes, there we go. That is it folded up. Pretty compact, and we're on wheels, so we can give it a little slide around. I know you won't see me, but you'll see this quite happily. Like, that works really nicely, no issues there. And you can put it in your cupboard or lay it on the floor, wherever it is you choose to have it. So yeah, I mean, to be honest, that folding mechanism, even though there was like 12 steps in the manual, I think once you've done it a couple of times, it's going to be pretty straightforward. And the same goes for setting it back up again. So that's not too bad. I remember them being more ball achy than what they were. So overall, as a folding, dedicated formula cockpit, I haven't really got any complaints. I think the price is quite reasonable, a little bit less with my discount at £279. I think delivery is free as well, certainly here in the UK. There is a shed load of adjustment in all angles, heights, lengths, for absolutely everything. I love the way the wheelbase can slide backwards and forwards. That's super easy. And your pedals, you know, maybe you're swapping drivers with your partner, or, you know, you've got a child and yourself, you know. So that's quite easy to accommodate more than one driver. The seat is comfortable. I love the mesh. Not only the aero mesh, but the actual mesh that lets you see through, because that's great for airflow. I get very hot when I'm sim racing. And yes, there is of course flex in the wheel deck, but that is to be expected with any folding cockpit. It's just the compromise you have to make for being able to fold it away like this. And the wheels on the bottom are a nice little touch, because folding cockpits without wheels can be quite weighty. Like the GT Amiga one that I still can't remember the name of. It's more like, it's heavier than this, and it's not mega heavy, but it is, it's solid. And you know, wheels make things so much easier, just to wheel it off into the corner of the room, behind the sofa, put it in a cupboard, even wheel it up the stairs one step at a time if you needed to. So wheels are a nice touch. So yes, I don't really have any complaints. It does exactly what it says. It's super adjustable. It's as solid as a foldable cockpit can be, and it's comfortable, and I don't think the price is too ridiculous. So, thank you very much for watching, and as always, take it easy.